Hi guys, welcome to Martinmade. My name's Stephanie and today I have 5 kitchen gadgets that are my absolute favorite. So I have 5 different kitchen gadgets that I use all the time that I'm going to show you today. Maybe some of them you already have at home and you love just as much. Maybe you have never heard of them. I just kind of want to do a favorites video and show you kind of some of the things that I use around in my kitchen that are kind of a little odd. I'm not a particular fan of kitchen gadgets. I find that the kitchen gadgets they're usually fairly small and they're usually take up room. And half of the time you use it for one thing and then you don't use it except for that one thing. So like I would love to have certain cutters for fruits, but I find that a lot of those things end up just taking up space and the time that you actually use it is very small. So I don't usually buy kitchen gadgets all that much, but I have a couple of kitchen gadgets that were given to me that I use all the time. I use them on a weekly, I might add, basis. And then I also have some kitchen gadgets that I wanted. And so these kitchen gadgets are ones that I have in my kitchen and I'm going to show you those now. Oh, so the first kitchen gadget that I have is my kitchen scale. If you do not have a scale in your kitchen, I believe you are totally missing out. My husband and I bought the kitchen scale quite a while back. My husband actually was the one who wanted it. I didn't actually want a scale. I was like, I've got measuring cups. I don't need a scale too. It's only going to take up space. But I find I use it a lot, just about every day. I measure my coffee out with it. I measure meat out with it. When I need to freeze meat, I buy meat in bulk. And so when I buy my meat, I'm measuring it out to a pound to go in the freezer. And so I measure it right out to 1 pound and I wrap it up and I put it in the freezer. It is a gadget that I didn't expect that I would like, but I absolutely love. And my husband's really big into precise measurements and whatnot. And so he loves it. The thing I love about it is if I have a recipe that calls for, say, grams or milliliters or whatever it is that I need to measure out, I can do it with my scale. And I don't have to try to figure out the conversion and whatnot. Because I live in Canada, there's a lot of times that I will have a can of something that is measured in milliliters and I do not know what the equivalent of that can is in ounces, and so I can just put a bowl on my scale and dump it into that bowl and find out how many ounces it is, and I can use how many I need in my recipe. So that is probably my number one kitchen gadget that I use in my kitchen. My number 2 would have to be my onion goggles. You're gonna say, those look so weird. I hate cutting onions. My husband and I used to buy the Costco size bag of onions and we would cut up all of the onions at one time and we'd freeze them. They are great right from the freezer. I love it. The only problem with the freezer when you're freezing onions, just kind of a side note, it will smell up your freezer. And so we have been looking desperately for a way to freeze onions still that would keep our onions from smelling. But if you have a way, please let us know. We would love to be able to start doing that again. But in general, when I'm cooking, I cut onions with goggles on. I am always my eyes will water like crazy, and then usually I'll end up with just heavy eyes the rest of the night because of the onions. So I picked these up. These are actually, my husband picked these up. These are actually welding goggles. My husband said, let's try these first before we go out and spend like bukus of bucks on onion goggles. So we tried them out first and they do work. What you want is you want a goggle that is going to have a seal. Now, if you notice, this has kind of like a spongy kind of seal, and that is the key. You want to put them on and you push them up against your face. These are meant for welding, but I use them for cutting onions. They're a great tool. Then the third thing that I have is my bag holder. This, my mom got me. I would have never bought this for myself. This is not something that I would have looked at it and I would have said, seriously, it's a gadget that's gonna sit in my drawer and I'm gonna forget about. But quite the contrary. I use this thing like weekly. This thing has saved me from having to hold up a bag and try to fill the bag while I'm holding it. You just put your Ziploc bag, let me grab a Ziploc bag here. You take your Ziploc bag, you open it up, and it's got different sizes, so depending on the size of your bag, you can choose to have it lower or higher. And so with this bag, I would take it and all the way up, and it attaches and holds onto the bag just like this. So you can have two hands working to fill this bag so it can go in the freezer. And I use my freezer to freeze tons of leftovers and things like that. So this was a perfect gadget for my home. I absolutely love it. It's got a little bit of a rubbery bottom so that it doesn't slide all around on you. And this I would suggest if you freeze things on a regular basis or constantly putting stuff in freezer bags, this is the way to go. Number 4 would be the lid holder for my pots. Now, this was something that we happened to end up having, not realizing what it was for the longest time. And we had moved into our townhouse, and after we bought the house, I saw this thing tucked inside the cabinet, and I was like, we had a lot of stuff that we had to clean out of the cabinets, but this was actually screwed into the cabinet. So I was confused as to what it was supposed to hold. I was thinking maybe sheet pans or something like that, but we could not figure out what it was supposed to hold till one day I was cleaning out the cabinet and it dawned on me, it's for pot lids. And so I'm gonna show you it right now.
So I realized I hadn't filmed this footage, but here it is. This is the pot lid holder, and I believe it's from IKEA, but this is how the lids sit on the little shelf, and it works great.
Now, the last thing that I have on my list for number 5 would be my plastic wrap holder. That is something that it's one of my favorites for sure, but it's also an eyesore to me. It's one of those things that I see in my kitchen that I wish I could take and put somewhere else. It's not the nicest on the eyes. Your kitchen doesn't have a nice sleek look with it in the kitchen, but I would not get rid of it because I use it so much. And it's one of those things that if I could find a different place for it and I could put it somewhere else in my kitchen that would be accessible, I totally would, but we just don't have a place right now for it that it could go that would completely hide it. But I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so here it is. It's called an Easy Wrap 1000. It's a system and you buy the inserts for it, but this is the nicest for saran wrap. I hate those little boxes that you always get cut on and are always getting hurt by. I will say though that this is not a whole lot better, but it's easier to be careful with this. So we buy like the inserts. This just pops out. It has a little thing here on both sides, and it just pops out and you just pull and you have your piece of saran wrap. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And for those of you who are new to this channel, you can hit that red subscribe button down below. What are your favorite kitchen gadgets? Please comment in this comment section down below about that and let me know what are some of the best kitchen gadgets that you own in your home. Kitchen gadgets can be great. Kitchen gadgets can be just a clutter, but let me know what you think about kitchen gadgets. I will catch you in my next video and have a great day, friends. Bye.